What's up, Signature Las Vegas? Me and Nick are coming out to do our event, Acting Class for Entrepreneurs, Wednesday, August 26th in Las Vegas.
This class is specifically designed to break down everything that Jake and I have learned in the last 10 years working with coaches, influencers, Olympians, professional athletes, entrepreneurs, and a whole bunch of hardworking producers that has made their social videos so successful. So we've taken all that experience and all that success, packaged it all together in one course. We're bringing it right to you, all for one specific purpose.
How to kill it on social video and actually create content that does something for your business, grow your followers, get more qualified leads, and get people to actually refer business to you through your social media. Seats are limited. We would love to see you there, so get your ticket now.
Good morning, Signature. We're live, really live from the Southwest office. So we've got a couple things going, so hopefully we can figure out all this technology. I know we're broadcasting on Zoom and also live on our Facebook page. So I wanted to also just say today is our 8-year anniversary, Janet.
I know.
We have been Facebook
and they
friends.
said it wouldn't last.
Who said that?
A lot of people initially said, "Oh, it won't last."
Yeah, well, we're still going strong. So if you missed that, mine and Janet's Facebook anniversary is today. So anyway, so we got a great sales meeting on tap. Unfortunately, we went to this live format, which we're going to start doing more of. Try to get us.
Why do you say
off of Zoom.
unfortunately?
Yeah.
Well, what I mean by unfortunately is our lender friend, Shelly, logged in via Zoom, so there was no mortgage update.
She would be here, and it's not because of the humidity that I smell, but there was supposed to be a person here, but that's okay.
All right, so why don't you tell everyone what we're going to do today?
Yeah, so we thought we'd have a different spin on our potpourri, and we'd have like the signature view. Get it? This is my coffee cup.
Oh,
I'm on the end, so am I Rosie or Whoopi?
You're off the show.
So we've got a series of topics today that we're going to just discuss and share with you of some things that we're seeing and we're hearing in the marketplace. And before we do any of that, though, let's talk about the new Weekender. I just got the question, why did we open it up to the public? So why did we?
Because you said it'd be a good idea.
That's right. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to take a little bit of Signature and spread it out amongst the other agents in the marketplace to give them some hope in their weekly schedules. So one of the other reasons we did it is there's a lot of great content. There's a lot of great people out in the marketplace that we wanted to bring into the show so that we could highlight things that are going on, things they're doing. But we do have kind of an inside joke that we're only going to share with Signature. And we've got a lot of friends that we've built over the years on our board service. And we kind of like to, once in a while, kind of poke fun at each other. You know, and,
At least we think it's funny.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So you're going to notice every once in a while within our show, we're going to have an innuendo like, boom, producers. A good friend of ours started a coaching program, and it's called Boom Producer, and we like to kind of jab him a little bit at that, but it's all good fun. And he does the same to us on the shows that they have. So if you ever see any of those funny contexts in any of those shows, that's why.
Yeah, you probably won't see any of theirs because theirs are boring. But but with that being said, if you can try to pick them out, that would be fun to see. But yeah, we do have fun with that, and we amuse ourselves, so we continue to do that. But the other reason we wanted to put it out to the public is so that you get more information than just what's going on in Signature. So I'm excited about it.
I think the other thing, it's honest, right? I mean, we're actually looking at all of these other issues. We're not being politically correct on every one of the topics, but we're being mindful of other people and respectful. But I think there's a lot of things that people misunderstand and a lot of info that they don't get and don't hear. And so that's kind of the idea behind the show.
The other thing I would like to cover before we jump into some of these potpourri of topics we have is the intro of, before we came on the sales meeting, was the video acting class being put on in the Southwest office tomorrow. We still have a few seats left, and if you get into the comments on the Facebook Live here, there's a little link to register. You must RSVP to come, and it should be good. It'll be from 1 to 4 in the Southwest office, and then we will also broadcast it live on Facebook, so you can still get it if you don't get a ticket, but it's always better if you can get in and get live.
Are we having snacks, drinks?
Depends.
Shelley? Oh, she's not here. Sorry.
Shelly did text me, are we ordering food? So let's fill this up, and we'll talk to Shelly about it.
So there's still some seats available.
Yes.
Yeah, just a handful.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. I mean, everyone is always wanting to get together. Like, we haven't been able to like be in person with each other. Here's a great opportunity with probably one of the number one topics today in real estate, something you should know how to do. And these guys are going to teach you how to make your video relevant. We should have people yelling and screaming because they can't get into this class. So if you haven't signed up yet, you better go do it quickly, because I think it's going to fill up.
So it is one of the first events that we've actually done in the offices since the whole COVID-19 issue. And one of the things I think is important, we're spacing the chairs out so they're spaced like I am on this table. But the idea is we're going to make it safe, easy for everybody, and I want you to come and enjoy. But again, without being said, you bring your face mask. If you're not feeling well, don't come. Let us know that you're not coming if you registered for a class, but be mindful of the others that you'll be around as well.
He said without being said, and then he said it.
I said it.
Said it anyway.
Very cool. So,
All right, well, let's get started on the topics. Janet, we're going to start with your topic first. You always have, first off, no refunds, we know that, but let's talk about some stuff going on at GLVR, because you are an involved member. You are the one that's on all those committees right now, MLS and the board.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is this week is Happy Birthday Week in our office.
Woo!
Bobby's birthday was Saturday. She was on vacation, so we celebrated yesterday. Bobby, otherwise known as Boss Lady and Miss Anal Compliance Checker. And then Friday, our very own Ashley, who always dictates the food, the flavor of the cake, the types of drinks we can have. Her birthday is Friday, so stop by and see Ashley on Friday. Okay, so I want to talk just a little bit about LVR. I happen to be the chair of the nominating committee for the elections.
Power. I said that's real power.
free the MLS.
No power at all for the board of directors for 2021. I will tell you, we have so many candidates running this year for board of directors that it took us 2 full days to interview them.
Can you say how many?
I think there's 17 or 19, I can't remember.
19?
There's more than I have seen since the first year I ran for the board, which was like 11 years ago. This is the largest slate of candidates for the board of directors I've ever seen. There were some people there that I've never heard of, never seen, but they were awesome. When they opened their mouth, the things they want to do, where they come from, their background. So your vote this year is very, very important. And I want you to cast an informed vote. So we will be broadcasting live the candidate forum on September 1st. And I didn't write this down, but I believe it's going to be at 1 o'clock. And you need to tune in. Now, I can't tell you who's running yet, because the board of directors has to ratify the slate, which will happen on Thursday at our board of directors meeting, which, by the way, you may tune in live from 8:30 to 10:30. And we will ratify the slate then, and then Thursday afternoon, the slate of candidates will be released. This is important. Watch the interviews, and then afterwards come talk to me, and I will tell you whom to vote for. Okay.
Wait! I want you to have an informed vote. So meet the candidates and then come in. I'll tell you who to vote for. I
And
love
then
it.
you'll be informed.
Yes, yes.
I've already interviewed all of them.
That was worth
so-
being here today. So let's talk about the election.
Well,
though.
let me just say though, with the size of company that Signatures, we should really have some influx on what kind of board we put in place that helps run our association. And I mean, I'm not as involved in the association as maybe Chris and Janet and even Brandon, but I will tell you that who is on the board matters because it dictates some of the services that the board provide, that the association provides. It dictates how we run the association. So, I mean, if you're completely disinterested in who's on the board, please still vote. And of course, Janet, as you just pointed out, will tell you who to vote for. So it'll be super easy. We just need you to actually push those buttons and get the votes in.
Well, you know, the important comment that Janet made, it's hard to know the background behind how people vote on the board meetings. And so you do see a lot when you're a board member and years of experience. And so you get to understand, you know, people and their agenda. And there are people that have agendas, right? I mean, this is a non-paid position. You don't get any free swag. I mean, once in a while you get to get stuck on a trip somewhere. And I'm glad I did it. Believe me, I'm glad I did it. But it's hard work, and I think a lot of people get into it and they have no idea what it's going to entail. And then now they're elected and they don't really know what to do. And you watch them on the board meetings. Janet asks a question on things that happen that are relevant to all of us. Some people don't ask questions at all, and that's concerning, because if they're not asking any questions, they're voting on contracts, they're deciding our fate. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Exactly. Well, I don't want to be on anyone's menu. It's a big deal.
It's not just a ego trip to be on the board. It's actually a good position.
It's hard work.
And giving
It's
back
hard work.
is good.
A lot of hours.
So it takes what? It used to take 500 votes to even place as a director, and now with that many people running, you'll probably need at least 800 to 1,000 votes.
I don't know. Last year we had around 5,000 votes, but a lot of the elections last year were uncontested. And this year is a much larger, more diverse slate. And you need to understand whom you're voting for. And don't just vote for Tom Brown because, you saw him somewhere on the street and he spoke to you. Don't vote for Tom Brown because he's the one that sent the most flyers to your inbox.
I hope Tom Brown isn't running.
Well, I can't say who's running.
I know I'm not voting for Tom, that's for sure.
So make an informed, educated decision.
So when do we get to vote?
Okay, voting starts Monday, September 21st at 12:01 a.m. and ends promptly on September 23rd at 2 p.m.
So serious question, Janet. First time in 11 years that you haven't been running for GLVR director or executive. How do you feel about not having to run an election?
Well, actually, I'm kind of sad, but this year's board has been different and more cliquish.
Different is a very good word.
Way to set her up.
Whom has been different?
Than any board I've sat on, and I would be sad. I'd probably sit here and be teary-eyed, but this year has been just a real goat rope, and I think I'm glad to be done.
If I had a pen, I'd write that down. Goat rope.
Goat rope.
But Janet, thank you for your service. You've really done a lot for the association, and being there was important for a lot of members, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and the information that you brought back to the agents and us, keep us informed, is really, really appreciated as well.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
So
So do I get to go to my next topic?
Go ahead. Oh, can't wait.
Okay, so here's the thing. I talked about this about maybe a year ago, and it didn't seem to make a real impact, but I have almost 200 agents in the Summerlin office, plus I have agents from the Henderson office who will text me and ask me a question. Not so much this office, but a lot from Henderson. And they send me this text, and they ask a question, they're really concerned, and they really need an answer, but I have no idea who they are. None whatsoever, because I don't have every agent and signature in my phone. So, here's what I would like. If you're texting me and you're asking me a question, it's going to make a difference on, do I know you as a brand new agent who's working on your first deal? Or do I know you as an agent who's been in the business for 20 years and you just want to be reassured that what you're thinking, you're on the right track? It makes a difference how I respond. But if I don't know who you are, I can't respond appropriately. So what I would like that I don't have, and I'll confess I don't know how to do it, is for everybody to have a text signature. Now, I know that we have very, very techie people, like, for example, Aaliyah in the Henderson office. That girl is a genius with a computer. Maybe for one of her classes, and I know Kim's pretty much a genius. Ashley, being my office manager and also being the one that sends you your checks, she doesn't have time to do this. I would like for somebody to teach a little class, however long it takes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, how to set up a text signature. So I'll know whom I'm responding to. It's important. So
somebody just commented that they know they're in your phone because they programmed it. So when you're in the Summerlin office, stop by, grab her phone, and put your number in there, and it'll be very, very helpful.
Well, it's not a bad idea, because there are a lot of times when you're texting clients, and agents will do it, and you don't realize the client may have lost their phone, or they got a new service or whatever, and you send them a text, hey, just checking in and see how you're doing, and they're like, I don't know who this is. And so if you did add your name and your license number and your phone number and everything else and
Your
at the bottom and your add your designations, and it'll go on for pages, but at least they know who you were when you text.
Exactly. To me, that's very, very important. The other thing I want to tell you about texting, and this has actually happened, true story.
True story.
I had an agent who texts me 5 screens on and on and on, and I had one response.
Who is
You
this?
need to call me. Because if your question on text is going to take 5 screens, we need to talk in person. And that's all I had to say about that, but it's up to somebody who's more tech savvy than I, maybe even beta, to teach us how to do this.
Shelly's willing to do one for Google phones.
Hey,
I think there'll be one person.
Yeah,
in the class
exactly.
herself.
That will not be a
No one
very
cares about
well-attended
that.
class.
I want to know who you are when you text me.
well, that's definitely good stuff, Janet. I think you hit a good point, and it's one that we definitely need to address in class. So thank you for your topics.
I have one more.
You do?
I do.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh.
So here's the thing. I have somebody call me about one of my agents, and I don't have their phone number in my phone. So I go to MLS to look up their phone number, and what does it say? Their phone number is 702, and it's our office number. It's our office number. You're not in the office. I want to call your cell phone. But here's the thing I don't think you guys realize. We do not have an answering service. In fact, the only phones in our office run through the computer. So if you're getting an offer at 6 o'clock on a Friday night and somebody needs to talk to you and all you have in the MLS is the office number, guess what? They're not getting your message till after 9 o'clock on Monday morning because there's nobody in the office checking the messages. There's not an answering service because I guess because we're high tech, we have no phone lines in the office. Is that the reason?
We have lines.
Whom,
the
whom
reason-
has lines?
Boom! For listeners.
I mean, the real reason is you need to have your phone. You need to have a way so that people can get a hold of you directly,
Yes.
because you represent buyers and sellers, and your buyers and sellers, they need you as an agent to represent them. So if they can't get a hold of you, that's a huge problem.
I didn't know people called people anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I received an
They
offer.
text.
Received
And
an
you know who
offer
they are.
over the weekend, and they didn't even call and say I had an offer in my email box. You
They
know?
just sent
Well,
it.
how can
And
they
that's
text
a black
you
hole for me.
if you have your
Yeah, it
office
is.
number in there? Don't they have to have your? We can't get texts at the office.
No, not at all. But this is actually one of my topics. I was trying to find an agent for a referral back east, and I knew the agent because we're Facebook friends, and so I went on their Facebook.
You knew them because you're.
No,
Facebook
well, I knew them
friends?
through NAR, and we're
Okay.
Facebook friends,
All right.
and so I went on and I found their Facebook profile, and I went to their contact info because you know that whole contact site. Nothing, not one thing anywhere with their website, their phone number, anything, not even an address, right? And so I had to Google this agent, so I Googled them, came up with their Realtor.com profile. I logged onto their Realtor.com profile, nothing, no contact info at all. And so I'm trying to give this agent business, and they didn't go to any of those sites and fill anything out. Now, I do understand people are conscious of giving out their cell phone numbers for safety because you worry about people getting your number and then texting you nonstop and you don't know who they are. But you could get
Well,
a Google Voice number or anything.
Yeah, there's a fix for that nowadays. It's called block the phone number. Somebody starts texting you and it's unwanted, just block the number. Even Shelly will teach in her class on the Pixel phone is it a Pixel phone? Is that what it's called? Anyway, there's even a way in that phone that you can just block the phone number.
I
So
don't
it's
know. That might be pushing it.
that might cause it to heat up and catch on fire, but whatever.
Throw it out the window, and they won't call you again.
Yeah, the real solution, Chris, is a Google, or go to CallFire. There's lots of services where you can get a phone number, and it can then route numbers wherever you want to go. It's super inexpensive. But guys, if you're representing a buyer and seller and somebody can't get a hold of you,
It's crazy.
so that you can represent them, that's
And not only that,
Not good.
but you've invested a fortune to make this your business. Like I've had the same number for 17 years that I've used for my business. Even if I wanted to switch plans, and
I've literally deleted it 10 times on my phone, and it keeps coming back. I don't know why.
well, I tell you who I am when I'm texting you too. But the whole point was
Block.
that I've advertised that number year after year after year, and I've spent I don't know how much money I've spent on different cards and forms and marketing pieces. And if I get rid of it, I'm out of business, right? So I think the whole point is that treat your business like a business and put your contact info up. Erin Patrick said on her thing as a sales manager the other day that you need to go on and fill out all your profiles. And it was shocking to me to go to each one of this agent's profiles and find out they didn't put any contact info in.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's a service for that.
There
Like you
is.
can hire an online service, and that's what they do is they keep all of your online information consistent and updated.
Really?
It's amazing.
Janet runs it.
I think it cost me like $240. I did it like 2 years ago, and it's cheap to renew. I don't even know the name of it. I'll have to. But there's a service that can do that for you because
Really?
I'm really bad at that. Like I don't go.
How does
make
it find
sure-
my passwords and my usernames and stuff?
It goes to your profile.
Bishop
only.
one? That's
Yeah.
easy.
Shh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't know
Tom
because I don't know
Brown.
all that techie stuff. All I know is if you don't want to do it, if it's hard, if you don't have time, whatever excuse you're using to not put your information out there,
It's
there's
important.
there's a solution.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
true.
important.
It's got to get done.
Same thing with your voicemail. I mean, you should record a voicemail. I call people all the time. It's still their old company.
I hang up when it's not an actual voicemail that says who they are because I don't know if I'm leaving a message at the right place. And so I think clients do that too.
And when I look up those phone numbers on the MLS, because you're not on my phone, and I get the number you are calling, 702-499-3001 is not
That's her number,
available.
by the way.
I'm like,
Text her now.
I'm like, how did she know that number so well?
how do I know if I'm talking to you? Exactly, Chris. I'm not going to leave a message and say, gee, Chris, I need to talk to you. I had a complaint come in and we need to discuss this. No, I'm not going to do that.
Again.
Please, you're in business. Put your name out there, your company name, and leave a message.
That's a good point.
We
That's a
beat
good
that
point.
topic up.
Yeah, we did. All right, so Janet, anything else before we move on?
I just text you so that you know who I am when I text.
Save that.
Not at the moment, but if something comes to me.
You
I'll-
reserve the right to come back to you.
I'll
Okay.
back, yeah.
Perfect. Todd, let's go with your topic.
So hey, I want to talk about the market.
Really?
Yeah. What's your opinion? What's everyone's opinion on the market? We're kind of I feel like we're kind of at the end of the COVID-19. Many people have kind of just started to the new norm, I guess we could call that, right? We just have it, but there's still people buying and selling, and we said that all through as we were separated for so much time, 3 months or whatever. We kept saying people still need to buy or sell. You should still be out there prospecting, but really, I think that my opinion is the market's hot. I sent out some text today to 3 different people about their new listings that have been on the market for less than, I think, 10 days. And all 3 of them, I got replies back that said, we're under contract.
Yep.
So I got to tell you that I think the market's pretty hot right now. And I feel like the normal thing that we see that's really hot from like May, June, July, June, July, August, during the year we have a pretty hot summer, right? And there's lots of sales. I think we're going to see that move more to, what month are we in?
August.
September, October, right? I think the next 3 months is when you're going to see that people have got comfortable with the new norm, and you're going to start seeing a lot of movement out there. So my opinion is the market's really hot. Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
Well, it's crazy because with all the uncertainty, with the election, with COVID, all this stuff, the market is still moving.
Yep.
And you've got so many people. There's still a lot of people that are holding off. Could you imagine if these people were all jumping into the market, where we'd be? I mean, we would have no inventory.
That's true.
It's a crazy market.
And inventory has gone up. That's the interesting thing is we were in a massive shortage the entire time we started into COVID. And now inventory's gone up. I think on Vandana's post the other day, it was 1,200 new listings that have happened and more sales have happened. And I think what I used to believe when I would do market stats for the board and things like that, that you could tie the job index to the real estate increase. And so if you would look at jobs going down, the number of job vacancies that we had, and as people were back to work and things were happening, you'd see the real estate market just start toning. Well, coming into March, we saw a massive drop in the job index where people lost their jobs. I mean, it jumped, further than anything I've ever seen, and yet the market still increased. And so I think the one thing I've felt about the Las Vegas market is it's still the number one place people want to live. It's extremely affordable. You have the mass migration of people coming from horrible tax climates around the nation. We've never seen anything this bad, and it's getting worse in most states because now they're fighting COVID costs that they're having to incur. We've got states going bankrupt, right? The state of Illinois was filing bankruptcy because their credit score is their state. Did you know states have credit scores? I didn't know that.
The country does.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so with all those things together, I think we're still seeing that flux of people, but the migration was happening before COVID. There was an article last night that came out. It said that COVID will never go away. It'll morph into something else, but we will learn to live with it like we've learned to live with the flu. But people will start to get vaccinated, they'll start to build up immunities to it. But that shocked me, because remember when we went into this, everyone was like, oh, we're going to wear our masks and we're going to get rid of it. None of us will be affected. It'll just go away. Now that's not even the conversation anymore. Now we're learning to live.
Reality is we've been required to wear a mask now for more than 2 months.
Yep.
And the numbers have continued to increase. And so I think it just proves that the mask isn't the answer to the question like they thought it was going to
But
be.
who's had a cold?
The virus killed the colds.
I'm not kidding you. Not one person that I know of has called in sick on anything, not even like the bottle flu, right? Every once in a while you'd have someone staying out a little too late, having a little too much fun. And hey, I'm not feeling very well, I won't be in the morning. None of that. I think it's changed a lot of mentalities on what you will and won't say anymore. And it's just interesting to me that it's happened that way.
Well, no bottle flu because the bars are closed. The governor still won't open the bars.
You'll
There
always
you
find
go.
a way.
It did solve the problem.
It did solve
Well,
that.
Yeah, but the
Speaking-
liquor stores are open.
Speaking of a hot market, though, I got a text this morning from one of our agents. Says I'm representing a client who wants to buy a house around $280,000 to $300,000 with FHA loan, and is willing to pay closing costs. The market is very difficult at the moment, and I understand we shouldn't use the acceleration clause. How could we win a bid? Should we offer paying XYZ dollars over appraised value on an RPA? We just filed of escrow because of an appraisal value was $12,000 lower than the purchase price, and the seller wasn't interested in negotiating.
Well, let me say,
You're exercising your right to.
You're coming back.
I'm,
in.
I'm commenting
All right.
on
Tag her
Brandon's
in.
post.
I got it. She's in.
So it's not that we shouldn't use acceleration clauses, it's that the state of Nevada says, no, you can't use them.
Yeah, there's actually
you
an
shouldn't
article
do it.
that just came out from the state attorney that
Yeah.
said, I mean, it was a week ago, that
Well,
said,
it's been around
don't
since
do it.
the market was hot back in '05.
Right. So
Yeah, but
take,
I
But you
thought-
can't
take that
use
off
them.
take that off the table. So how do we make our offer stronger and more competitive so that we
Research. The whole thing is right now people are writing offers and they do absolutely no research on the property. They make no phone calls to ask questions. Our whole job as real estate agents is to find out information so that our clients can make informed decisions. And so are you calling the listing agent? Are you checking the comps on the property? Are you looking to see how far you could stretch the home to actually still appraise?
Right.
Do you have a creative solution to come in with cash over the appraisal? One of the questions in my buyer presentation is, does anyone owe you money? Do you know why? Because
You might need it.
I might need it. I mean, the whole point is, do you have a rich aunt? I mean, the whole thing is, if you could borrow money from somebody and it could cause you to take that cash and pay down, the difference between the appraisal and the home to make your offer more attractive, that's a competitive way to get your offer accepted. But no one ever thinks of it because they do no research. And I think that's the problem with most
Yeah,
agents.
so when you're writing an offer, you're writing something educated. So if you were going to write an offer and you were going to say buyer's willing to pay X number of dollars, let's say $2,000 above the appraisal,
Yep.
you need to be very clear on how you write this because
Yes, please.
your appraisal could come in $5,000 above your price,
Your
and you
offer.
just agreed to pay $2,000 more than the appraised
Yep.
value. So now you just put yourself in that.
To
So if
cover
you're
the
gonna-
difference and the whole thing, you have to write the box
Well,
of what you're going
I
to do.
think his point is if you put an offer at 300 and you say you'll do 2,000
Above
above,
appraisal.
and appraisal comes in at 305, now you're paying 307.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to do it, guaranteed above appraisal, but it has to be written correctly so there's a cap,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
There's a
Get-
reverse to that, though,
get
too.
with your broker because
Yeah.
they'll help you write that in a way
Text
that protects
Janet.
the buyer.
And put your name in the text.
Yes, put your name in the text.
Yep, when you put your name in the text, I will tell you another way too, rather than be committed to that and going, ooh, is this like an acceleration clause or not? If you have the cash, offer to pay some of the buyer's closing costs that they normally have to pay.
Seller's closing costs.
Yeah, sellers, thank you.
Yeah. You're right.
Offer to pay some of the seller's closing costs. That will net the seller more and make your offer more attractive as long as the listing agent is willing to explain all of this to the seller.
So, Chris, I think what she just said is a big clue to a lot of the problem, and that is that it's all about the net.
Yes.
The seller only cares about the net. Like, does the seller? So, if you're traditionally writing for closing costs, if you traditionally write for a home warranty for $500 or $600, or you know, those things are things that you have to have a conversation with your buyer up front before you go look at houses as a part of your consult, to let them know we're in a super hot market and here's some things that are traditionally paid by the seller that maybe we would talk about
Transfer
buying.
tax, title insurance.
Yep.
The other thing that bothers me in this market right now, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to it, is still people are overpricing their home. And you have unrealistic sellers that believe adamantly, my home will appraise, no problem, I'll be just fine. And so we've actually had the reverse happen, where we've put in as a buyer that the seller agrees to pay the difference between an appraisal and the price that we've agreed to pay them. And what it does is it ties the seller to their plan. Hey, listen, I'll offer you the money you want. If they'll give me a loan for it, I'll pay it, no problem. I'll pay as high as we can go. But Mr. Seller, you agree to cover the difference or reduce the price if it doesn't match the appraisal. And having that conversation in advance on an overpriced property, the buyer's the one fitting the bill for the home inspection, for the appraisal, and all the money. They're putting out $1,000. The seller's risk is they're making the payment for another month. But in that scenario, hey, I believe you. I think your value's great. We'll just agree that right now that you agree to stand behind it. You could do it.
Yep.
It's just a question of negotiation.
It becomes tougher if you've got multiple offers. But still, here's another thing, though. Just using a reputable lender with a name that's known in the industry, that has relationships with other realtors, can help you get that offer.
Oh, that's huge.
I just got, like I said, I got the one over the weekend, and they're dealing with a lender that I know. And so when I was able to sit down with the seller, I'm like, I know this lender. The letter's good. And even the lender reached out to me because he knew me and basically said, this is a solid buyer.
Yep.
And that was worth its weight in gold. So using the proper vendors around you that have a good reputation in the industry can also help you get
The
your
phone
offer
call from the
accepted.
lender too. I mean, if you can, absolutely, just introduce themselves and who they are.
So this business, so the market's hot. We've all, I mean, no one's trying
110
to
outside right
disprove
now.
me, right? So, yeah, it's pretty hot out there. 107 today.
It's early.
That, Shelley, that was on my Apple Watch, not my whatever that other watch.
That wasn't on Google.
Let me just say this. This is a relationship-based business. As much as some of us, including me, I'm the first one to admit I'm not a huge relationship person. Like, I'm not the touchy-feely, huggy. That's just not my personality type, right? We all know that by now, except now with Janet, because she said I smell good. It's about getting into relationship with a listing agent. Like, if you want to, like, there's a couple things that you can really do that most agents won't do, and that is make that phone call to the listing agent, have a conversation, have a meaningful conversation, not just
A polite.
hey, do you have any
conversation.
offers? I mean, the guy, the listing agent's been asked that question 1,000 times, right? Have a conversation about the home. Have a conversation about the seller's goals. Now, some of them won't share that with you, but that's okay. At least that agent knows who you are when they go to present that offer. Yeah. It's about relationships. We just had a house that we had 14 offers on in 48 hours.
Wow.
14 offers in 48 hours.
Can you spread those offers around to other listings?
And all, well, we tried to. We went to the neighborhood. We knocked on the doors. We tried to get other people on the list. They wouldn't do it, but we did try. My point is the offers that we went with. We being us as the agent trying to sell the offer to our client, to our seller, right? And the seller gets to make the final pick. I'm very clear on that. They did. But all of the top 3 that came in were all people that we had relationships with. Sure. All people that we knew. And they all know how I do business, and they knew what it was going to take to get the offers accepted, and they wrote offers accordingly. So it's the research. It's about knowing people in the industry. It's about relationships. One of the cheapest things that you can do, talking about sellers' closing costs, the cheapest thing you can do for your buyer is ask them to pay the entire escrow fee instead of doing it 50-50. It's super inexpensive, $400 or $500 on a $400,000 house, right? And most listing agents will look at that and go, wow, that's cool. They will pay the whole escrow.
I would add that you should write that in an email so that they know that you did that, because I think most listing agents don't really read the offer. They look at the price and the closing cost section, and then that's it. And so I think that a detailed letter, hey, listen, I really appreciate your time. I'm here to work with you. Here's the lender's info. Here's my cell phone number and then my real cell phone number.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, we're paying your escrow fee. I think that could help a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't read. You made the comment about net, right? I doubt that many listing agents understand the net of an offer they accept because they didn't take the time to do a net sheet on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can sell something and not know the costs. It doesn't make any sense. right?
Well, from a seller's perspective, I don't understand how anybody would do that. Like, if I was a seller, I would want to know, okay, how much money am I going to make?
Just text me what it'll be.
yeah.
So, and I know there are those lazy listing agents out there who will,
None of them here at Signature, though. I just want to point that out.
who will call up their seller and say, hey, just got a couple offers on your house. They all look good. I want you to make a decision. I'm going to email them over to you. And that's the end of the conversation that they have with their seller. So if I'm in a situation like that where I really want the seller to know I'm going to pay the whole escrow fee, on page 9 of the RPA where there's little blanks, I write that in. I write it right out so that they're flipping through the pages, they're not going to miss it. Buyer will pay entire escrow fee. Buyer will pay homeowner's insurance, not homeowner's insurance.
Now you're talking.
Home warranty policy. I would write
Sure.
those things in.
Sure.
So if you have a lazy agent who's not explaining it to their seller, the seller
Sees
will
it.
not miss it.
Yeah, good point.
But send it in the email, but call them and tell them too. I mean, it just goes a long way.
Yeah.
Just communicate, do the research, put a little effort into submitting that offer. You took the time, you showed the properties, you wrote the offer. Don't just email it over and leave it to chance.
And if your client doesn't know you did it happen?
Nope.
Probably not.
No. So I think that's the other point, is that when you do all these extra things to help your client get their offer accepted, how are you including them in the plan? It needs to be their plan with your execution, right? Not your physical execution, but it needs to be it
Sometimes
needs to
I
be a
would rather have
plan.
that.
Boom, producer. It needs to be a plan that they understand. And when you're telling them, I'm going to call the agent, I'm going to do these things, and they see you do it, that's buying referrals from your client. They know
Well, that's
what they're
value,
gonna
right? That's you providing value to your client, and that's what causes them.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one last thing out there. I know we beat the horse to death, but one last thing. I had lunch with one of my old mentees from like 5 years ago. He called me up and he goes, dude,
What'd you eat?
Salad at Panera, actually.
Okay, then we
not
believe
my,
you.
not my first choice, but he came with questions specifically about being in multiple offer situations.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, back a long time ago, you told me that if I was in a multiple offer situation, I should have my buyers write a letter to the seller. Does that really work? He says. And I said, have you tried it? And he goes, yeah, we just did it on one and we got it accepted. I said, okay.
Here's your
it does-
sign.
It does work, all right? So if your buyers love the house, have them write a quick letter to the seller. If they've got little kids and the house is set up with a playground or something, the kid's handprint at the bottom of the page, or draw a little circle around their hand. If it's a dog thing, right? The sellers have dogs and you have a dog. Just
Send them a bag of dog.
A paw print on the end of the bottom of the letter, right? I mean,
Your
these
response
things
to
work.
that, your response to that guy should have been, "What? It worked?
It works.
And
I
read
just-
it in the
First
book.
one that ever worked."
I'm just telling you, I've presented offers to sellers that had letters like that.
Can't hurt, right?
And they actually went with that and lost a couple $1,000s net because they wanted to sell their house.
So you're
to
saying
someone
people get
who would
emotional?
Enjoy it the same way they did.
But know this, and I learned this lesson the hard way. Price still matters.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff to support it, but just because you have a letter and you're going 20,000 below market doesn't mean you're in the running. So
But
I
I,
had two
wrote a
pop
letter.
it's not a miracle working system. But
And I just want to throw out one more thing. One of my last few months on my soapbox here, Todd talked about the importance of relationships, and the top 3 offers he had relationships with these other agents. Well, how do you get relationships outside
Involvement.
of your office? You get involved down at LVR when we're open again.
LVAC, because there's nobody there.
You get on
Go to the bar.
committees, you go to social functions, you meet other agents because you need those networking opportunities. You
So true.
really do. It will really help you in your business.
Well, okay, we had Janet's topic, we had Todd's topic, and Brandon.
that was my topic.
You already
I added
yeah,
on to
okay.
his.
So I've got a few on here that I can cover in the last few minutes that we have. And number one, we talked about the referral network that we have and placing a referral through the company. And again, let me mention, it's not a requirement. You don't have to do it. It's there as a service to provide value and benefits to you as agents. But I've noticed a couple of things that have happened over the last week that I thought are important enough to bring up. So number one, I've had 2 agents send me referral agreements with a 20% referral fee. And all I could think of was that they would have gone through our program, they would have gotten 25%. But again, it was their business choice, and we're not knocking that. But if you want to throw away 5%, I understand it's your business. But
And do the work.
and do all the work. But we were able to, with a number of people this last week, we're getting about 1 referral a day. And so if you can imagine the growth of this program, and Monica's about ready to pull her hair out, but it's fantastic. We're getting one almost a day. And so those are 25% referral fees that our agents are getting. We had one that closed just about, 2 weeks ago. And it was a $1,000 referral fee on a $3,000 commission that you usually wouldn't have gotten anything. The agent would have said, oh, I'm not paying a commission or a referral on something that small. And so our agent was able to get that referral. That was pretty cool.
Well, it's been so successful. We're actually looking at some technology to help track and monitor those
Yes.
things for you, right?
Yeah, we have a brand new program that we're looking at that basically would put everything into a quick email where you just click accept and you get the agent who's being referred and the agent's referral information for who it's going to, and there's constant follow-ups, so it's just automated and it's easy and it's simple to get back to, so we're making it better.
Well, but and the point of the program is that for the agents of Signature, it saves them time.
Yes.
They can be out prospecting, showing homes, doing other things rather than tracking this referral that they sent to Chicago that's going out of business,
Yep.
right? So
And you know when
the
you hear from
company
a-
tracks it.
The company tracks
keeps
the whole
tracking
thing.
it.
And when you usually hear from a referral agent is when they answer the phone and say, yeah, how can I help you? And you're like, hey, I have a referral for you. And they're really nice and they're really polite, and then they try to negotiate you on the referral fee, and then you never hear from them again. Or the client.
Not
right?
even when it closes.
Not even when it closes, because it doesn't in most cases. And so the cool part about this program is they are giving feedback, and we've had some struggles in getting quality people on the other side. Even top producers have problems, but we've found a great network of people. Here's the only thing I need to ask you guys. If you're cold calling and you happen upon somebody who lives in another state, that doesn't necessarily mean they want to sell their home. So please don't send us a referral for someone who you actually haven't qualified, because it's happened a couple of times this week. We've called up that referral agent, we've negotiated the referral, they've called the client's like, I'm not selling my house, I'm going to die here.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So just let us know, that you've done a little bit of due diligence, that you actually have verified the lead, that they do own a home, they do want to sell it, they're not just pulling your leg.
Do
and
something
it'll
to
make it
earn the
easier.
25%.
Yes, please. And again, that's the whole point, is we will negotiate it for you, so you don't have to deal with that heart palpitation of trying to negotiate referral fees.
So the agents of Signature are guaranteed a 25% referral fee, and the company tracks the entire thing. All they have to do is send an email to referrals@signaturenv.com.
Referrals@signaturenv.com. You send the email with the information that I have a referral to place. An email comes back to you with a sheet to fill out. Please fill out the information, because that's what we use to place the referral. That information is taken and we assign it to an agent. We report back to you who the agent is, so you get the benefit of their information. We pair you together so you can have conversations about the client's weirdnesses and things that they should know. And then from that point on, we do a follow-up on a regular basis to find out what's going on with it. And some of these aren't ready. I mean, we've had a few where it's like, I don't want to buy for 6 months, but we have an agent on the other side who's sending them properties, who's communicating what's going on. That's huge. And we definitely want you connected with that referral agent if you're selling their home here, so they can buy there. That's a huge connection that makes a difference in the deal.
So one of the other benefits of doing it through the company is that it allows us to build a bigger referral network,
Yes.
which will allow us to get more referrals coming back. And if we can get some more coming back, that means more that can go out.
We try to make that connection so they know who sent the referral, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to call us up and say, I have a referral for so-and-so who sent me one. And we want to make that relationship happen so that there's business going both ways.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. So one of the other things that happened as we were going through that referral process, I noticed that 2 of my agents did not review the closing disclosure for their client, and some of the items that were supposed to be in the closing disclosure per the contract were missed. And so my agent was like, well, that's the escrow officer's fault. What do you guys think? I mean, is it our job to review closing disclosures and make sure that they match the contract?
You know, actually on your closing disbursement sheet, you sign saying that you've reviewed that and you approve it. It is your job as an agent and the professional to make sure those figures are right.
I always looked at it as a safety net. The lender is putting one together. The escrow officer is confirming figures and putting it together. And then I'm there as the agent, and so is the other agent, to make sure that my client's figures match what they were told. Many times there's been discounts that they would get by me simply picking up the phone and saying, hey, my client's a veteran, my client's a multiple property owner, did you apply their discount for it? If I didn't ask for it, if I didn't say anything, guess what? They get nothing. Factoring closing timelines, we're supposed to close on the 5th of the month, and they factored everything based on the 10th of the month. I mean, it makes a difference in all of those.
Yeah.
Make sure the home warranty's on there if it's there, make sure it's on the right side, make sure make sure more than just your commission is right.
Oh, that's
Right?
all I look for.
That's always right.
I'm always looking for the commission. That's it.
But I think the other point is that a lot of the times small things are missed because people make mistakes, and it's not like they do it on purpose, but if you're not reviewing that, the people won't know. So make sure you're reviewing those closing disclosures before it closes. Not the day it closes, but before
Prior
it
to.
closes, because you have to redisclose.
Before we go on, I want to go back. Rosemary posted a question here, and I think this is relevant too. Can she knows a good agent up in Reno. Is there ways they can add agents to our list?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we do is we are trying to find agents everywhere. So if you have a good friend, when the program came out, we had a number of people that sent over, hey, this is my friend back in Billings, Montana. They'd be great to refer to. We've sent contracts to them to become part of our referral network, even though we don't have a referral yet. And the great part about our referral system is we don't charge a yearly fee. I'm part of some referral networks that charge $1,000 a year just to have my name on the list. We don't do that. We're here to provide value back and forth to each other. And so we work that all into the setup of how the system's set up. But if you have agents anywhere, we'd love to connect with them. I was just looking for an agent in Reno, and I have 5 friends in Reno, but doesn't necessarily mean I'll refer to all of them.
Yeah, Rosemary, thank you for that question. That's a good question.
Great point. My last topic is, it's a big one, and I think that I'd love to hear some tips and tricks from all of you, but September is Realtor Safety Month. And so realtor safety seems to be one of the last things that we think of, but it always should be front of mind. And so it's important with the COVID crisis and everything that's going on and all the risk mitigation that we're doing, people lose track of the fact that they need to be protecting themselves in situations. And so I've written out a few tips. Number one, getting your client's ID, a copy of their driver's license. What do you think? Would you do it? Do you not do it? Is it a crazy idea? How could it help?
I've personally never done it because I think I was very careless and very lucky in my early career, because if someone would call on my listing and say, hey, I'm parked in front of your property at blah, blah, blah right now, can you come show me? I'm like, oh, sure, I'd be there in 10 minutes, and I'd get in the car and go. Wrong thing to do, don't do that. But I've learned over the years, now I might still do that, but I'd make sure I took somebody with me.
I just think mentally that, anything I buy nowadays, doesn't matter what it is, if I go and I sign up for tanning, not that I am, first thing they ask you for is, can I have your driver's license?
True story, by the way, just so Chris. True
The
story.
vision.
They do ask you for a driver's
My
license?
eyes,
I don't know.
eyes.
We
I
do
don't know.
that for tanning.
But the whole thing is, I'm buying a house, right? And the real estate agents typically do not ask for someone's driver's license, which has all of their important information. And you ever filled out an offer for your client and you can't remember how their name is listed? Wouldn't it be easier if you had their driver's license to go off of, right? But I'm just putting it out
That's a
there.
good point. I mean, if they wouldn't give you what are you fearful of asking for? That they're not going to give it to you and you're going to lose a client? If they're not going to show you their driver's license, they're probably not a good client anyway.
It's true. And at least when you get their driver's license, you know what their address is, where they live. You have a photo of them, so you can show someone what they look like. It's important. And there's a number of stories out there where that one step was able to save an agent's life because they could actually identify the person they left with.
It could be as simple as if you do meet someone at the property, you get a copy of it and text it
Yeah.
off to Janet. Make sure you put your name
Yes.
under it.
Yeah, we
No,
know
but
who
text
you
it to
are.
somebody
Text
that
it
you
to
know.
somebody. That's
Yeah.
the important thing. Yeah. Leave contact info with the office of where you're going if you're going out to show somebody property. That's really important too. So you can always leave that with me or any of the managers or the front desk or.
Yeah, so I've received several emails from agents that would say, I'm going to this property, meeting somebody I've never met before, and if I don't call you by this date, this time, please
Yep.
check in on me, and I'll always make it a point to call them prior to when they're supposed to call me, because I want to make sure they're okay. So I think that's a great way. Send an email or a text to your broker. If it's a text, make sure your name's on it.
There's a thing within the showing app for CentraLock that you can go in and set up. Basically, it's a timer, and if you don't click the button on that timer within a specific period of time, it sends people to your location. People that you have set up on the list, it sends them a text, hey, I'm in trouble, come and help me. They put that in there so that agents would be secure in showing property.
One request on that, though, don't put me as that contact. There's a lot of times I'm in meetings and stuff like that, and I'm
Don't
not
see your
at
phone.
my phone. And if it's a serious issue, it could be a delay on getting back. So put somebody
Yeah.
on there that can respond in
Absolutely.
a timely manner.
The other thing that was smart on this list that I found was plan exit routes. And what it means is if you're into a property, understanding where the exits are, don't let someone stand behind you and you be first in. Make sure that you are always vigilant of who's around you. And same thing with parking your car. A lot of the times you'll get to the property first and your client will park behind you. Make sure you're not boxed in so that if something did happen, you can exit very quickly. A lot of times I see agents carrying in a lot of stuff and it says carry less. You know, they've got their phone for the showing, they've got the lockbox holder, they've got the key in their hand, they've got the forms that they have, they've got the contract ready to go.
Like the purse.
Yeah, and well, I don't wear mine anymore when I go to the property, but the idea is I've got all this stuff, and if someone were to attack me, what am I going to do? Throw it up in the air?
He wears
You know,
a fanny pack.
Could we use it to throw at them? Could we?
the whole point is to make sure that your hands aren't full,
You're not
so that
bogged
you can do
Got
that.
it. Yeah, makes
And
sense.
this is the last thing on here, and I was just talking with my 12-year-old about it. Stranger danger. Remember in kids in class when they always say stranger danger? And I think that we're programmed to understand that we just don't talk to strangers, but we're in a sales business, right?
Right.
So you would never meet someone on the street without any context and just take everything they say as the truth. But yet in real estate, agents do that all the time. So be cognizant, make sure you're protecting yourself, and be smart about it.
So a rule on my team is that the agents, we do buyer consults, and they're in the office consults. And if somebody won't come into the office and do a buyer consult, so we can meet them, kind of get some
It's a sign.
background, and get that whole thing, that's a sign. Some of the agents will still meet people at properties, and that's okay, but we ask that they take somebody with them when they do that.
Yep.
Even me, I mean, if I have to go, I can go, but we, of course, try to get other agents on the team to go with that. So it's a big deal, and if anybody on my team was ever to go show a property to somebody or go somewhere, we want to know. Like, we're always talking about who's going where and what's going on and what that looks like. So,
And most clients, if you actually explained why it's for their protection and your protection, how could they actually object to it if there was no, there'd be no,
if there wasn't really going to be an issue.
yeah, exactly.
The only ones that object to it are the shady ones that there could be a problem.
And the weird part about this list that I found is a lot of it was based around open houses, which we can't do open houses right now. But there was a comment in there that made me kind of think about it is that, you're talking about someone carrying their purse, is you wouldn't carry your purse and set it on the counter and then go off and walk away. I know agents that carry guns in their purses and their wallets and their keys and their house keys and everything else. Don't do that. Don't just set it down and leave. It's
So
just not a smart thing to
you
do.
don't take your fanny pack off and put it on the counter?
I'm not telling my trade secret. Well, without going too much further into it, Safety Month is all about making sure that our agents are protected, making sure that they're doing good business, and your life isn't worth losing over this business. And make sure that you're being safe. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good
Got
stuff.
all your topics?
That's all my topics. That's all I got.
Last chance.
I think I'm good.
That's it, huh? Anything else?
No, I'm good. I think we did good.
You guys, it's been fun being able to do this semi-live, so we're going to start doing it this way, I believe, and we're going to open up our sales meeting to a limit of about 25 to 30 people, and we'll have RSVP links each week, so if you're craving that interaction of those sales meetings, you're able to come in. Again, we'll be practicing social distancing and keeping the crowd small, but as we try to get a little bit more normalcy. And if you haven't signed up for that video training tomorrow, again, there's only a few seats left, and we'd love to see you there. Please sign up, because I got word that Shelly is providing lunch, so we'll need
Nice.
to get it.
Where can they
accurate
sign
number.
up at? How do they get the link?
So it's in the comments, or not the comments, the description of this sales meeting. There's a link right in there. It's also under the announcements tab in the agent's signature. So.
It's something funny that we talked about before is that, now that because of COVID and not having any in-person interaction, a lot of agents are going hungry because there's no lunch and learns. there's no food at the office.
My fridge
so-
is empty. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm
I'm
going to
driving
do.
Similar to the
Yeah.
school lunch program.
Yeah.
Wondered if there was going to be breakfast this morning for the office
No, the
meeting.
food will be back.
The food will be back, so that's great. So thanks for attending, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks a lot.